Hey folks, welcome. This is Gently Chaotic Knits, and this was Norman, and he's now gone. And my name is Emily, and today's a good day. My brain is like, so, today is Wednesday, May 24th. What this is Gently Chaotic Knits. Sorry if you can hear my dog drinking water in the background. We're already getting off to just like such a chaotic start. Today is Wednesday, May 24th, and that means that today is the release day for my most recent pattern, the Color Tip Tee, which I am wearing right now. And those of you that have been following me for a while, for the last couple of patterns that I've released, I have purposefully scheduled things for me to do on release days so that I don't sit and refresh like my computer over and over. And so normally, like in the past, I've gone and like gotten a haircut, gone to the dentist, like run some errands, that kind of thing. And I just like didn't really have anything I needed to do today. And so I was like, what am I gonna do to keep myself busy? And then I thought, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to record a podcast episode because I can't be like checking my phone or checking my computer while I'm doing that. Sorry, Norman, why don't you come here? You want your blanket? Okay, he wants his blanket. I thought we might have Norm with us today, but that is not in the cards. So anyway, what was I saying? I didn't have anything really to schedule today, so I thought I would record a podcast episode because I have to be focused on that and I can't be like checking my stuff while I'm recording. And if I do, either y'all have to hold me accountable for that, or also I have to just edit it out, in which case that's just like more work for me to do. So we're gonna stay locked in, we're gonna stay focused. It's around 10 a.m. Pattern went live a couple of hours ago, and already everyone has been so kind about it, and I'm just really, really excited to share this one with the world. This one is, I'm really, really proud of this pattern. I think I talked about this a little bit on the last episode. The general construction is really similar to my dad's sweater pattern, so it is a set-in sleeve. You do short rows on the sleeve cap to get this really nice kind of cap sleeve look. And it is knit in a fingering weight yarn. And I knit this is my original sample. I knit it using Purl Soho linen Quill, which is just a lovely breathable yarn that I really love for summer knits. It only has a little bit of linen in it. It's actually a blend of Highland wool, alpaca, and linen. Only has a little bit of linen in it, but I do think that just the structure of this yarn is really kind of light, airy, and is really great for summer knits. So did I say the name of the pattern? I feel like I did. I must have. This is the Color Tip Tee. I will put a link to it down below, of course, so that you can go and check out the pattern if you're interested. And if you want to purchase it, if you're watching this close to when I release it, so the plan is to publish this video tomorrow, which would potentially be today for those of you watching, Thursday, May 25th. But through the weekend, and actually it's a long weekend in the US, so through Monday night, this pattern, as well as my two other tee patterns, like my summer knits, so Stripey Turtle Tank and Slanty Stripes, are going to be 15% off with the code COLOR. So you can just put that in your code box at checkout on Ravelry, and you should be able to get 15% off all those patterns. So definitely check it out. Let me know what you think. I hope you love this one as much as I do. I feel like it really is just like such a classic t-shirt, and I'm not trying not to do self-promotion here. I'm doing plenty of self-promotion, but I really do love it. It's not just me being like, buy my pattern. I really, really love this t-shirt pattern, and I have been wearing mine all the time. I knit another version that I can't wait to show you. So yeah, I promised the last two episodes that I would wear this one on the podcast that y'all can see it. So here it is. This is the size 2, which gives me exactly 4 inches of positive ease at the bust and no ease at the shoulders. And so for this one, the shoulder measurement and the bust measurement are both pretty important for getting a good fit. But If you don't fit in one of the sizes perfectly, there are some guides in the hacking guide. There's some information there about like how to adjust for like a broad shoulder adjustment. And that is something I should mention as well. Similar to my dad sweater pattern, I also included a hacking guide in this one. The reception to that in dad sweater was really positive, especially from my testers. So I wanted to do that again. So there's information in there about all kinds of adjustments, how to do a V-neck mod, some fun ideas for changing up your finishings, like your edgings. There's information about doing, like I mentioned, the broad shoulder adjustment. Yeah, just like all kinds of really fun stuff in there. So check that out as well. I really think this tee is just a great baseline that you can kind of play with and modify to make it what you want. It can be very classic, it can be very fun. You can do it with the pocket, without the pocket, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about this anymore because I know that's probably super annoying, but I do really love it. And just think of this as like a finished object that I'm sharing. So yeah, that's how we're starting. I will say a word of caution that I did not take notes today. I probably should have, but I was like, I'm ready, and I just decided to jump right in. And so I don't have notes that I'm following, so it may be, I mean, it's already pretty chaotic, I mean, hence the name, but we're just gonna be flying by the seat of our pants here. I'm wondering if I said that this is a knitting podcast. Did I say that? If you've made it this far and you don't know whether this is a knitting podcast or not, that's on me. I'm sorry about that. This is mostly a podcast about knitting. Sometimes I talk about other stuff. I actually have some other fun crafting to share today as well. If I remember to talk about it. But yes, thank you for tuning in, and let's talk about stuff I've knit. So I have another finished object. Spoiler alert, it's another color tip tee. I started working on this one. Actually knit this really quick in just over a week. I think it was 9 days. And I was working on it last time I recorded. And I have since finished it. And so this is my second color tip tee, and I'm actually gonna pause here. Excuse me. Oh, I haven't really eaten anything this morning except for a fruit roll up. And for some reason it's making me like burp. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. I'm sorry, this is so chaotic today. Okay, I'm gonna put that on. Okay, I'm back, and this is my second color tip tee. For this one I used a different yarn. I used Grenouille in their merino linen, I think she calls it sock linen base. It's a fingering weight single ply yarn that is 90% merino and 10% linen, and it is just the most beautiful. And let me see if I still have a little bit. I think I showed this close up on the last episode. The linen just gives it this like little bit of these like white pieces, which are just beautiful. The colorway is Lampblack, which is honestly at this point it's just like my favorite yarn color of all time. I'm obsessed with it. So good. And here it is. I'll scoot back a little bit so y'all can see the fit. So the difference here between my first one and this one, I went one size down. So I wanted a little bit of a closer fit in the bust. So I did the smallest size for this one. The shoulders are a touch narrow, but because I have pretty narrow shoulders, it works out okay. And then I have no ease at the bust, still a little bit of positive ease here below the bust, but no ease right here at the bust. And I did not do the pocket, and I also didn't do any of the like contrast color edgings or anything. So I just wanted a really classic looking, basic like black tee. And it's perfect, and I love it so much. I'm so obsessed with this t-shirt. I want to wear it every single day. The yarn feels incredible. I think the color is perfect. I love the fit. I love the fit. It honestly, as soon as I made this one, it made me second guess. It was like, I made this when I designed this pattern, I designed it to have 4 inches of positive ease built into the pattern, and I'm like, I should have done it with no ease. Like, it's so good. But, you know, that's something I know I can always do in the future. But I will say that because of the way the shoulders are constructed, I wouldn't necessarily, like, because the pattern is intended to have no ease at the shoulder and 4 inches of positive ease at the bust, and that's built into the way that I graded the pattern using like the size charts. I mean, of course, like not everyone's measurements match perfectly with the size chart, so that's always something to check and figure out when you're like picking a size of the pattern and when you're getting started knitting something. But I will say that I think if I wanted to design a no ease garment, like a no ease at bust garment, I would have done the grading differently. I don't know if that makes sense. Just based on like the shoulder to bust kind of ratio, I would have done differently. So this worked out for me, but I don't think it would necessarily work out for everyone who wanted to knit it this way, but it's always worth a shot. And like based on your measurements, it might work out for you. I think it works out for me because I have narrow shoulders. I kind of feel like I already said this. Did I already say this? Am I being super annoying? Sorry, my brain is chaos this morning. I also, of course, like because it was pattern release day, I woke up before my alarm and like couldn't go back to sleep, and so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get up and do pattern stuff now. So anyway, this is my second color tip tee. I mean, it doesn't look like a color tip tee because it doesn't have color tips on it, but I love it and I want to wear it every single day, and I've already worn it like multiple times and I just can't stop wearing it, and I love it, and it feels so good, and the fit is great. And I love it. So there you go. That's my second finished object. Not second. This one I finished before. This is my first finished object for the episode. And I have one more finished object to share with y'all. Did I say everything about this? This is size 1. Oh, I will say also just a quick note about the needle size for this pattern. Fingering weight yarn, I wrote the pattern to have a recommended needle size of a US size 3 needle, but I actually used a US 2.5, and that's because I'm a touch of a little bit of a loose knitter. So most of my testers were able to get gauge on a 3. Some of them, like me, are probably loose knitters and had to go down a needle size. Some of them had to go up a needle size. So, but I will just say I did personally knit it on a US 2.5. I did actually go up to a 3 on the sleeves because my small circumference gauge is a little tighter. So yeah, that's the information about my color tip tee. And like I mentioned, I have another finished object. So I finished this tee, I don't know, I guess it was about a week ago, a little less than a week ago. And then I guess technically I do have a couple other garments on the needles, but I haven't really been working on them. They're kind of like in timeout. Or just like hibernating, I guess. So really all I had on the needles was this hat that I'd been knitting for a little bit, and I finished it. So this is the Cheslie Toque, which is a pattern by, I think it's Kiyomi Burgin, but I'll have to look at my last episode's notes. Yes, Kiyomi Burgin. I used, so the pattern is, it calls for an Aran weight yarn and a lace weight, like fluffy yarn held together. And that's what I used. I used actually the recommended yarn for the pattern. The Aran weight is Ritual Dyes Elder in the colorway Forget Me Not, which is, here I'll show it, which is this one. Beautiful, just like ice blue color. And then for the fluff, I used just some leftover Drops Alpaca. I don't remember what the base is called. Drops something, brushed alpaca silk or something. And then also don't remember the colorway. I think it's like gray, light gray green or something, but it matched this really well. So I went ahead, this is just something I had left over. So I decided to hold it together to make this hat, and I love it. I'm obsessed with how this turned out. So cute. The like stitch pattern is really fun. It's really stretchy and squishy. It's so squishy. Has a beautiful tubular cast on here. Just really, really a great hat. I did finish it just in time to not wear it for like 6 months because my timing was actually impeccable there. So I did finish this literally like right as it got too warm to ever wear it. But it'll be ready for me. It'll be here and ready for me when I'm ready for it in like the fall and winter. So a couple of issues that I had with this project, not the design's fault, completely my fault. Well, first of all, I couldn't figure out how to pronounce it, and that was a separate issue. And if you want to laugh really hard at your screen, you should go back 1 or 2 episodes and just follow the whole Emily can't pronounce this word saga. I know how to now, okay? Cheslie, Toque. But oh, also I knit the smallest size. And I think I also sized down a needle because I was nervous it would be too big because I have a really small head. And it turned out great. I'll put it on in a second. Some issues that I had with this knit. One is that I thought I was going to run out of the fluffy yarn. I actually had 2 balls of this, like most of 1 ball, and then I had 1 complete like full ball. And I started with just like the full ball of fluff, and then I ran out of it and I couldn't find the second one, and I was freaking out because it was like weirdly tucked behind some yarn in my shelf. Anyway, this isn't that entertaining, but I couldn't find it and I was worried, and then I found it, and that's the end of the story. It was okay. I just was nervous for a short period of time, I guess. The other thing is I was knitting this while I was waiting for the ferry, and I was standing up in line to get on the ferry, and I came across like I was on one of the decrease rows, and I was like, oh shoot, I didn't do my last decrease, which was like 4 rows before. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put this away, and then once I get on the ferry, I will sit down and I will look at it and I will like rip it out, and then I will go from there. And then I got on the ferry and I was like, okay, time to rip this out. And so I just pulled my needle out, and then I went down to look at it and I was like, okay, how far do I need to go back? Like, let me figure out how far I need to pull this out. I had not messed up. There was no problem. There's literally no problem. I don't know why when I looked at it, I thought that I had missed a decrease. I had not. Everything was fine. It was fine. And I just pulled my needle out for no reason. And then I had to sit there and I had to put my needle back in through all the stitches. And like, it wasn't, there are rows here where you have to do like double yarn overs. And luckily it wasn't on one of those rows. It was the one after those. So it was like a little bit tricky to get my stitches back on the needle. But I was just like, Emily, why? Like, why did you do this? Like, why did you not check more before you pulled the needle out? But yeah, that was a mistake. And what we've learned from this is something that I think everyone else probably already knows, which is measure twice, cut once, right? Like, double check your work before you pull your needle out. But I'm glad I hadn't actually messed up. Like, that was a confidence boost for me that I hadn't actually messed up the pattern. I did just mess up later. So anyway, otherwise, oh no, another problem. Another problem that I had is that the pattern says to do the pattern, like the chart repeat 9 times, or until the chart repeat measures like 9.5 inches or something like that. I don't remember if it's actually 9.5 inches or if it's something close to that. So my brain was just like, I'm just gonna go until I've done 9 and then I'll check and measure, which is dumb because like, what if my row gauge was like larger than theirs, and then I would have needed to do fewer repeats. But I was like, I'll just do 9 and then I'll measure it. So I did 9 and I measured it, and I was like over an inch too long. So I wasn't gonna go back. So my hat is just like an inch taller than it's supposed to be, and that's okay, and I'm okay with that. But I already have like quite a small head, and so it's kind of like hilariously tall. Like, does it look funny? Tell me honestly, does it look funny? Is it too tall? I feel like it would be better if it was like just about an inch shorter. Why is this so funny to me? I don't know. Anyway, I'm thinking maybe I can just like pull the ribbing up more, you know? And like, that's not so bad, right? Is that like, I need someone to tell me like, this is the style right now, is to have like really tall hats. I don't know. Oh, I'm cracking myself up. Okay, well, anyway, I knit this hat. And it turned out good, but maybe too tall. That's the summary. That's the summary version of that. So that was the Cheslie toque. And that is my last finished object for the episode. What else do I have to talk to you about? So that was like all my works in progress up through like last episode. So at that point I finished the hat. I was like, what do I do now? Like, what am I gonna knit now? I didn't have a garment really that I was working on. I don't really have anything that I was working on. So I had shared, well, okay, so I really am getting the itch to do some like summer knits, tees and tanks, more tees and tanks. And I was gonna cast some on, but then also the summer flock along is starting this Friday. And I was like, maybe I should wait and I should cast on Friday, on cast on day. So I waited on that. And if you're wondering what that is, Flock Fiber Festival is happening this August in Seattle, Washington. We are so excited about it. I work at a yarn store, La Mercerie, and the La Mercerie team we're the ones that are putting on this fiber festival. It's happening at Magnuson Park in Seattle, August 4th through 6th. You should definitely come. But also, we are doing a knit along leading up to the festival, which is going to be really fun. So you can knit any tee and tank pattern. You can use any yarn that you want. And then the idea is just like, there's a hashtag on Instagram so that we can all kind of like see everyone's stuff. And then you can also wear it to the fiber festival is the idea. So like you knit your tee or your tank and then you wear it to Flock in August. So the cast on day is this Friday, and then it's gonna run through like up until Flock. And so I have like so many tee and like tank projects that I really want to get started on, and I'll show you some of those that I have the yarn like caked up and ready for. But I'm waiting till Friday to cast on. So then I was like, what am I gonna knit like this week? What am I gonna knit before Friday? So I cast on a couple things. First off, I cast on the second sock for this pair of socks that I've been working on, and I show y'all, I think I talked about this last episode, but I knit, this is the Totally Rad Ribbed Sock by Summerly Knits. Y'all, I have another just like hilarious error to talk to y'all about that I had happen. So I had already finished the first sock, or so I thought I had finished. Foreshadowing. I thought I had finished this first sock around like the end of the year. The thing is that around the end of the year, like around New Year's, I had the flu. And I don't know if any of y'all have had the flu. I mean, some of you probably have. I think it's notorious for like making your brain just not function. So most of the time when I had the flu, I did not really feel like knitting. I didn't really feel like doing much. I was basically just like down and out. But I did a little bit of knitting on this sock, and I guess my flu brain was like, okay, well, let me just show you. So this is the sock. The yarn is from Yarn Baker. It is a really fun sock set that we did for the Winter Wishes sock swap update at La Mercerie last year. The sock set is called Heavy on the Cinnamon, and I really love it. The green was not part of the sock set, but was just a little bit that we had at the shop that I ended up adding as a heel here. But okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this sock. So like, this is like a normal looking sock. If you look right here, can you see that like kind of little hole? That's where that hole looks like maybe someone joined some new yarn there, and that is the situation. When I first knit this sock in December, when I had the flu, that is where I stopped knitting the foot. And I put the toe in right there. And I don't know if you can see this, like my hands for scale or whatever, but that is like the size of a toddler's foot. Like, I don't know what made me believe that that sock would fit my foot. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I was just like, oh, I'm done. And I put the toe in, and it's like, literally, it was an inch too short. So I pulled this sock out a couple days ago. I was like, I'm gonna cast on the second sock. Well, first I had to pull the toe out of the first sock and knit on literally 1 whole inch of foot and then put the toe in. Like, it was that much too short. I think my flu brain was just like, I'm done with this. So I just put the toe in. And like, I tried it on when it was really short, and I could get it on my foot, but it was so stretched that like, it was horrible. I do not know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. So anyway, I did first pull out the toe, knit another inch of foot body. That's another thing. I briefly mentioned this on my last episode. Why do we use the word body for like when we're knitting things that are not garments? Like the body of the hat or like the body of the foot? Or is this something that no one else says and just I say? Please let me know down below in the comments. Do you also say body for like body of the hat or body of the foot? Or like the sock? Let me know. I'm very curious about this. But anyway, I added an inch to the foot in the main color, and then I added the toe. And then I cast on the second sock. So now I'm going on the second sock. Here it is. I think my gauge is different than it was on the first sock. I think my gauge is tighter than it was on the first sock, but maybe not by a lot. Maybe it's okay. I don't know. But here it is. So this is my second sock, and I haven't made like that much progress on it, but I've just knit through the stripes and then started doing like the ribbing bits. There's like a little bit of ribbing just kind of on the like ankle. And so I just started doing the ribbing last night. So here it is. And again, this is the Totally Rad Rib Socks. And here's the yarn close up. And it's so cute. I love the tonal mane and variegated contrast color. I love this, and I wish more yarn dyers did sock sets like this because I am a tonal girly. I prefer solid, like tonal colors for my yarn, but having just like the little pop of the variegated is so fun, and I love it. So if you're a yarn dyer, this is my plea. Do more tonal mane variegated mini sock sets. And this again is from Yarn Baker. I have another sock set of hers actually that I think I have right here so I can show you. I have another sock set of hers that was from the Winter Wishes sock set update, sock swap update, and it's also a tonal mane and a variegated mini, and I love it. And this is definitely gonna be something that I knit this winter. Because it also has like holiday vibes, and these two together, like, okay, how cute, little Christmas socks. So anyway, that is my first work in progress, and then I decided to cast on a garment because honestly, I like knitting other things, but I consider myself to be a garment knitter at this point. I will knit like accessories and stuff, and I often like to knit them, but I think in my mind, I think of my knitting in terms of the garments that I knit. And I find myself to primarily be like wanting to work on a garment. So I cast on another garment, and this is one I knew I was gonna knit, and I was like, you know what, I have the yarn for it. I'm gonna go ahead and just get started. This is another, oh my god, y'all are probably so tired of me. I'm just realizing that like this is probably really boring. Anyway, look, it's gray and it's one of my designs. I'm being really annoying. This is a sweater I'm knitting for my husband, and the pattern I'm using is the dad sweater, which is a design by me. And you know what? I thought it was fun when I decided that I was going to knit dad sweaters for my whole family. And I didn't really think through that for those of you that watch me on YouTube, that's going to be really annoying. That's pretty much like all I'm knitting is dad sweaters for my whole family. I'm sorry, but I'm doing this because I want to. So this is dad sweater, which is a pattern by me. If you don't know that, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because the people who watch every episode are probably so annoyed with me by this point. Anyway, I'm knitting, this is dad sweater. The pattern includes both broad shoulder and standard shoulder sizing. It's basically like men's and women's size charts. And since I'm knitting this one for my husband, I am using the broad shoulder sizing. The size that would fit him best is actually size 2. But again, for those of you that remember when I knit my mom's and my brother's, I'm using a heavier yarn for this one as well. I'm using Rerum Natura Gilliatt, which is a true worsted weight yarn. And the yarn that I used for the pattern is Cori worsted, which is not a true worsted weight yarn. It is much closer to like a DK weight. So because I'm using a heavier yarn, I was unable to get the correct gauge without the fabric being like super dense. So I am actually just knitting one size smaller for him, and so I'm knitting the smallest size of the pattern, and that will result in me getting the measurements of the second size. So it will fit him. And also, of course, I want to knit this for him, my husband, who is just the best person in my life and I love so much, of course. But also I want it a little bit for myself because I've been thinking about how I really want a dark version and I also want an oversized version. And I was like, great, he lives in my house. So if I knit this for him, then I can also wear it. So the colorway is Fusain, and it is a beautiful dark charcoal gray. It's just blending in. It's basically Lampblack, but I already showed you this. I don't need to show you again, but this is what it looks like. It's got a beautiful like heathering to it. It's just a gorgeous color. I love it so much. This is like one of my very favorite Rerum Natura colors. And I'm knitting this on a size 5 needle. Pattern calls for a size 6, but I'm using a size 5. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I should show you what I've done. I have cast on and knit like some of the back. So that's what I've done. So I'm about ready to start doing armhole increases. And I may modify this one slightly because while I really love the giant sleeves on this pattern, I don't think my husband will like it as much. I mean, he is like really nice about it when I've asked him. He's like, I'm happy with it, whatever. But I care a lot about knitting. Like if I'm gonna spend the time to knit a whole sweater for another person, I want it to be exactly what they want. So I've gotten the feeling from him that he would prefer the sleeves to be a little bit slimmer, so I may move the armholes up a little bit and then pick up fewer stitches for the sleeves and then do the sleeves just a touch slimmer for his as well. But yeah, and then also it was my brother's birthday last week and I mailed his sweater, which I showed in my last episode. I mailed his sweater to him and it seems like he really liked it and it fit, and I was really happy about that. I was worried, I was nervous that the sleeves weren't going to be long enough or that the shoulders weren't going to be broad enough, and I think it fit him really well and he seemed to really like it. So I was really, really happy about that too. So anyway, that's pretty much all I've been working on knitting wise. I don't have much else to share. that I've been working on, I'm itching to cast on summer tees and tanks. So I think I will do that on Friday. Honestly, I may cast on like 3 projects on Friday. I may cast on 3 like tees and tanks because I'm just really itching to. Speaking of, I guess I can tell you what I'm planning. So these are my plans for the summer flock along. And these are just like tees and tanks that I have that I'm itching to get started on. So first, I have this beautiful red yarn. This is Explore Knits yarn. The colorway is Pike Place. And how stunning is that? Like, excuse me? It's just so much fun. It's so bright. It's so fun. And the inspiration is perfect. It is inspired by, of course, that like, you know, classic Pike Place public market sign at Pike Place. And I am planning to knit the Strata vest by Jacqueline Cieslak with this yarn. I think it'll be just the perfect piece to wear both as like a tank, but also as a vest. And I think this color will be really fun for both a tank and a vest as well. So that I know I'm gonna cast this on Friday. I'm really itching to cast this on. Then I also shared last episode that I am itching to cast on a Totally Tank Top, which is a new pattern by Jessie May, in this skein of Yellow Brick Road from Aimée. This is also such a beautiful color, and y'all know I love a good yellow. This I actually have in their Cashmerino base, so it is a fingering weight. Oh, Norman is ready to come back. This yarn, this is Cashmerino, which is a fingering weight. I believe it's just a merino cashmere. Is it nylon? Come on, come on. You can do it. Come on. Good boy. There we go. Okay, why don't you take a seat? Norman, sit. There you go. Good boy. This is Cashmerino, which I think is a merino cashmere nylon. It feels really good. And I think it's gonna feel really good on my skin. And I love the new tank top pattern. You wanna be covered. I know that. There you go. I think it'll be perfect, the new tank top pattern by Jessie May, because it, for my size, just takes 1 skein of yarn. And I was wondering what to do with this skein of yarn, and I feel like this is perfect. So that I also kind of really want to cast on Friday, but then I also, okay, this one's a larger one, so I may wait a little bit on it. I have this yarn, which is Ovis, etc. Herba in the colorway Curry. And it's stunning. Love this color. We know that I love a good yellow, like a golden yellow. I originally was planning to use this as my main color in my Velacore, which I finished and showed, I think, in the last episode or 2. But last minute, at the final hour, I swapped and decided to go with a light blue color for the main color instead. So I still had 2 skeins of this. And I wasn't sure what I was going to make with it. I thought I might just make like a basic t-shirt. It's a sport weight yarn. And then I had the idea to make the Karina tee by Sari Nordland, which I'll try to put a picture up here. It's a really fun cabled t-shirt design. And then I was like, oh, I don't know, like, do I want to do this in cables or do I want to do something more basic? And then I was asking my coworkers, Nikki and Maya at La Mercerie, what I should do. And they were like really encouraging that like the cable tee would be really fun in this like gold color. So based on the yardage, I only had 2 skeins of this, and so I needed to get a 3rd, and luckily we still had some at the shop at La Mercerie. So I got my 3rd skein. So I have this, then I'm gonna use for the Karina tee. And honestly, this might be the one I'm most excited about, but I'm nervous that it'll take too long or that, I don't know. Well, okay, maybe I should do a poll in my stories on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram and you want to vote, go check it out. Probably maybe tomorrow. So when you're watching this, so Thursday, I'll probably put a poll in my stories asking what I should cast on between these three. What should I cast on first? Karina T or Totally Tank Top or Strata Vest? But also, I was taking a little picture of all my yarns ready to cast on for the flock along, and I had them all in my new bag from Knitting Nelly, which I shared in the last episode, but I'll show you a peek of as well today. And like, how perfect is this bag from what is becoming my summer palette? Like, love it. So cute. Mustard red. I just need to get a blue in there. I guess I knit my Velocore as well, which is kind of part of my summer knits. And this gray. I don't know. It's really fun. So I'm definitely feeling summer knits. And I guess because of that, I may kind of, once it comes to Friday, I may kind of abandon the sweater and not work on it for a while because, again, it's warm enough here that once I finish it, my husband is not going to be able to wear it until like October. So I'm not in a rush to get it done, but I just wanted to go ahead and get it on my needles, and that way I can work on it some. And I don't know. I mean, knowing me, I don't like having things on my needles that are not finished, so I might end up like pushing to finish it, but yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I may just switch over completely to doing summer knits. And I'm so, like holding these yarns up and talking to you all about them, I'm like itching to cast on. Like just a couple days early isn't so bad, right? Like I could just start now. Would that be bad? Maybe I could just cast this one on today and then I could just like finish it before Friday. Okay, that would be pretty fast. I probably can't do that, but it's just gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be really fun. So definitely participate in the knit along, come flock, knit all the summer tees and tanks. I'm ready for it. Speaking of tees and tanks, I have another tee to share with you that is kind of a finished object, because y'all may remember, this is a long time ago, this was last summer, I knit the Moonset tee by Ozetta. And while I loved the yarn that I used, like I loved the color, and I loved the finished tee, I didn't love it on me. Like just looking at it, I think the color was too close to my skin tone, and I just didn't love that color on me. And like a lot of y'all were really nice about it, and so I was like, maybe it's okay, like I think it'll be okay. And then I wore it again like last week or like a couple weeks ago, and I decided I just really don't love it. So I had posted about it because it's me made May, and I post about what I'm wearing each day. And Coley from Paisley Knits messaged me and was like, you should try over dyeing it. And I was like, I don't know, that makes me really nervous. And then she offered to like completely support me in doing that. And y'all, this now is 100% a Coley appreciation podcast. I cannot tell you how helpful she was to me, like absolutely above and beyond helping me over dye this tee. I cannot even tell you how incredible she was. So at first she like had offered to help me figure out like which dyes I should use to get the color that I wanted. And so I ended up like sending her all the dyes that I have and like sending her pictures of the tee, and she literally, I mean, she has like all of these dyes as well, because also did I say this? Coley is the dyer behind Paisley Knits. And so she is definitely like very skilled at this because this is like what she does. But she has like all these dyes. And so she was like, I'm going to mix up like a little dye solution to see what I think will work. And so she literally, sorry, my phone's ringing. Oh, it's my papa. Okay, I'm gonna call him back in a little bit. So anyway, she literally like went out and like grabbed her dyes that were the same as the dyes I have and like mixed up a little solution. It was like, I think you need to do exactly this much of this dye, this much of this dye, this much of this dye. And I described to her that I wanted the tee to be like a rusty red color. So the original tee, I can put a picture up here of what it looked like before I dyed it. And it's just like, it is a beautiful like pinkish corally color, which I do really love, but I just didn't love it on me. And the yarn is Ovis, Etc. Igneae. So actually the fingering weight version of this yarn, not this color, it was like a coral, but it is a wool silk Raimie blend. Raimie is like a plant fiber from the nettle family. So anyway, this tea was such a labor of love. Like it feels like it took me forever. It was like almost 1,000 yards of yarn. And so I was like, I would really love to like want to wear this more. Anyway, I'm getting distracted all over the place. I told Coley I would love for it to be like a rusty kind of brick red color. And so she, based on the dyes that I had, told me, like, she actually told me 4 dyes to use in differing amounts. And then she was literally sending me voice memos with like the steps of the process that I needed to do, because I've like dyed yarn briefly before, but like I didn't know what I was doing. And so she literally walked me through every single step. Coley's absolutely a wealth of information, like just knew exactly what I needed to do. And so I was like, I decided to go for it. I went for it yesterday and it turned out so good. It turned out so good. I can't even tell y'all. So I put the dye in, I like soaked it and I put it in, and it's actually drying right now. So I'm going to try to hold it up so that you can see it. But we'll see. Here it is. It's on my blocking mat, so I'm not going to pull it off because I don't want to mess it up. But isn't that color perfect? Like, it's exactly what I described. It's definitely like a brick red color. It's literally perfect. And like the color is so even on there, and it's just amazing. Like I'm putting it back down. I'm putting it away, but I'm absolutely blown away. I love it. I know I'm gonna wear it so much more now because I know that I'm gonna love that color on myself more, and I love it, and I'm so appreciative of Coley for like literally holding my hand through the entire process. Like I can't even tell you how helpful she was. So yeah, I overdyed my moonset tea and it went well, and I'm pumped. So I'm hoping that it'll dry. I may put it out. I think it's sunny enough today. I may put it outside, and hopefully it'll dry today, and I'm hoping I can wear it to the shop tomorrow because I love it and I'm excited about it. So yeah, and the other thing I was gonna say about Coley and her yarn, first of all, color genius. I can't believe how she did that on the first try, like just incredible. She also has a collection that's open for pre-order right now. It's a Harry Styles inspired collection, and the colors are so fun. And I actually been thinking about my order and what I want to order from it. And I've been indecisive about what base I want because she carries so many unique bases in her shop. Some really cool non-superwash bases. And so I really want to try one of her fun like new bases. So I'm definitely going to place my order. I think the pre-order is open through the weekend, so I'll probably place my order in the next couple of days here. Very predictably, my favorite colors, I think, are the yellow ones. So there are a couple colors. There's a variegated one called Sunflower and a tonal called Golden that I love both of them very much. So I'm thinking that I might purchase them in the next couple of days while the pre-order is still open. But you guys should definitely check it out if you're watching this within the first couple days that I posted it. You should check out, and I'll put like all of her information below as well. But she dyes beautiful yarn. I partnered with her on the Yalade shawl pattern that I released at the end of last year. So you should check that out too, because she dyed this stunning fade. It was like a winter mystery box that she dyed. Beautiful. It was like a blue-green fade, and it was stunning. And that shawl is like one of my most favorites because the yarn is just beautiful. So anyway, enough gushing. Oh, no, I'm not even done gushing about Coley because she also has a YouTube channel And she's been like posting stuff on YouTube for a while because she used to do a lot of like travel and also like booktube, like I think is what people call it. It's like a lot of, she just like read a ton and like posted a lot of videos about her books and stuff there as well. But she just started posting yarn related videos, and she only has a couple up now, but I like watched through those so quickly, and have been watching like her old travel videos as well, which are great. So I'll put her YouTube information below as well, and you should definitely check that out too. So yeah, I'm so excited that I overdyed my tea and it turned out good. But let's see, what else do I have to talk about? I have a tiny bit of spinning to talk about. I have a little bit of spinning. I really have not been doing much spinning. I think I was really itching to finish my brother's sweater, and then when I was knitting this, I was like, I really want to get going on this, and so I just had a lot of knitting energy, and so I didn't have as much spinning energy. But I finished my first bobbin for my sock spin, so I wanted to show that to y'all, like how beautiful is that? Obsessed, love it. So I talked about this a little bit before. I'm doing a fractal 3-ply. This is some of the fiber, what it looks like. This is Cheviot. I don't know if I'm saying that right either. This is Cheviot from, where is this from? This is from Hello Yarn. I guess I have the bag. Yeah, Cheviot from Hello Yarn. The colorway is called Seagrass. And it's beautiful, just like mustard with these like really light blue bits, which I love. And there's kind of like some greeny, like chartreusey bits and some like darker golden brown bits as well. And then again, here's what it looks like in the bobbin all spun up. So this was, I'm doing a 124 fractal, which I've talked about a little bit before. I am not like a spinning educator, so I'm not the right place to be teaching people about spinning, but the basic idea is that each ply, your color repeats go at different paces. And so like the 1 ply, you just kind of go 1 time through the fiber, and then the 2 you kind of split it in half and go 2 times through, and then the 4 you split it into 4 pieces and go like 4 times through. So I've already done the 4. This is the 4, and then I started spinning the 2 of the fractal, and then yeah, I'm hoping I can finish this. I really want to finish this pair of socks and then finish my spin, and then my next pair of socks that'll be, I have like an itch right under my nose. Then my next pair of socks that I cast on will be my hand spun socks, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, and then I already have like several spinning projects planned for what I want to do next. I really want to spin for a shawl. I think it's going to be really fun. That's another project that I'm doing with my friend Maya. We're planning to both spin. Actually, I'm planning to spin for the Cinnabar shawl by Andrea Mowry. She already has spun like her main color and is almost done with her contrast colors. So she's like way ahead of me, but I need to get going on that. But I am excited about that too. I'm itching to get started on that, so I need to finish my sock spin so that I can get started on that. Oh, and I forgot to mention also, speaking of matching projects, this red yarn, Pike Place, I don't remember if I talked about this last time when I talked about it on the podcast, but my knitting group friends and I, which you may call us, I believe we are going by Pacific Knit West, which is just such a fun name and I love, but there's like, we just have used that hashtag on Instagram, that's all it is. But you may remember last year for Rhinebeck, we all decided to go to Rhinebeck together and we knit matching, well, we actually did 2 matching projects. One was like a tee or a tank, and then we also did matching sweaters, and we just all used the same yarn but did different patterns. And so we're doing that again for Flock, and we're all using this red Pike Place yarn from Explore Knits, and then we're all going to use like different patterns. So I'm going to do Strata, but stay tuned. I mean, I guess it won't be up for a while, but in August I will share with y'all all of our projects. and what everyone decided to knit, and it'll be really fun. So I love matching. I love knitting matching things. Like, I think it makes it more fun to knit along with friends, and so yeah. So that's pretty much it, I think, crafting wise. I don't think I have, hopefully next time I record, I'll have some sewing to share with y'all, because I did actually put together my pattern. I want to sew a pair of shorts. I'm planning to sew the peppermint spring shorts. And so I printed out the pattern, and then I like went through and I taped it all together. So I just need to cut out my fabric and sew it and everything. But I think it'll be a pretty quick project. So that I'm planning to do in the next couple of days. And otherwise, I think that's all I have for like crafting stuff. What else can I say? As far as like what's just been happening for us generally, the weather in Seattle has been incredible. It cooled down a little bit this weekend, but before then it was just absolutely glorious. Just beautiful, no rain, sunny, beautiful, beautiful weather. And so we were spending a ton of time outside. Even like this weekend, it was like a little bit cooler, but it's still been nice. So spending a ton of time outside. We made, for Mother's Day, like we weren't celebrating Mother's Day because we both live really far away from our mothers, but on Mother's Day, Nafis and I made these really good lemon rolls. Did I put them? I don't remember if I talked about them in the last episode, but we made them and they were so good. So I'm going to put the recipe below in this episode. Definitely you need to make them. They're so good. They turned out really, really good. Really great like lemon cream cheese frosting. Oh, so good. I'm already like, I want to make them again, but we think we're going to try to make them again, but with orange, and maybe do like a little bit of cinnamon and cardamom as well with the orange. I think it's going to be really good. But that was our last brunch. This upcoming weekend for brunch, Nafis said he's going to make us omelets, which is like a classic thing for him. He makes omelets all the time, but we realized he's never made an omelet for me. So he's gonna make me an omelet, which is very sweet. And that's pretty much it, I feel like. The last couple of weeks has been a lot of pattern prep, just getting everything ready for the Color Tip Tea release, and flock prep, getting ready for Flock Fiber Festival that's upcoming in August. And yeah. That's pretty much it. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. I feel like I need to sneeze. I have felt like I've got just like fuzziness on my nose this whole time. I'm really sorry if this was like too chaotic. It was kind of crazy, but I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you have just the best week. I'm saying this out of order. I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball. Definitely watch baseball. It's baseball season. The Cardinals have recovered. If you don't know, I grew up a Cardinals fan. We now live in Seattle. I worked for the Mariners, so big Mariners and Cardinals fan. And the Cardinals have recovered somewhat. They are actually winning some games now, so that is good to see. And we have gone to a couple Mariners games this year, and it's just been so much fun, and we need to get another one on the calendar to go to again soon. But definitely watch some baseball and do lots of knitting and other crafting if that brings you joy, and have a great week. Bye!